Hello and welcome to consoletraining.com's video on grandMA2 version 3 basics. What we're presenting here today is a basics video for people who haven't used MA2 before but are familiar with moving light consoles in general. So pretty much it's sort of a refresher course. We're going to go through the basics of setting up an MA on PC with MA3D, connecting it all up, making it work. We'll record a sequence and we'll see how we go from there. So we'll jump into our view first. So in the top right hand side we've got MA3D. We've got MA2 on PC. We're running version 3.002. At time of recording 3.04 is out, although it only brings minor bug fixes. So I'll record with this version because it's what I'm running on the consoles currently, where I work. So we'll begin. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get MA3D and MA on PC talking. So in this case, to do that, once you've accepted the terms and conditions of MA on PC, you'll be presented with a screen like this. We need to go setup. And we need to go network control, and you can name your session. You can provide a session ID. Normally I only use 1, 2, 3, 4 and stuff is only when you're using multiple MA systems. In this case not required. We're not giving it a password. We're setting the station IP to the local IP address, so the loopback one, because I'm talking to MA3D on the local computer, but we could also set it to 192 or whatever your external IP address is, in case we wanted to run it across two computers or link in remotes and stuff like that. So once we're done, we click create session, and if we hop over to MA3D for a moment, here's the full view of MA3D. I won't be using this for very long. It's just while we're getting set up. But down the bottom, we've got a little sessions button. We can see that we've set our IP address, and you'll need to restart both applications if you change this IP address. It's set to local, and we can see that the session that we created in MA on PC is there. So we click join. It's going to prompt us, do we want to save it? It always prompts you to save it, even if you've got nothing to really save. So you go no, and it syncs across. Now in MA1 world you could have a different MA3D essential show file. In MA2 it saves everything into one show file, so all your geometry and stuff are actually stored in the show file. So you can have very large show files if you put a lot of set and stuff in there. So we won't spend too much time in this view, but I just want to go quickly through what you can see here. So across the top we've got our normal sort of Windows options. We have some rendering settings which I will be playing with later, which is just intensity, the quality of beam and things like that, and your point light color, but we'll leave it so we can see for the moment, and then that hideous bloom for doing pretty photos. We can also obviously drop it into full screen, and on this side we've got the 3D objects. So if we drop into media database, we can bring in people such as a figure, which we will. It's probably me to say that you're adding a model of a spotlight or a moving path to the show. You can't control this object. I think that's incorrect, because a person can't be controlled by a desk, thankfully. Depends. So we'll add in a person, and we'll also add in a relaxing person, just for the fun of it, because you'll be relaxed after watching all our consoletraining.com videos. Humour. Anyway, so we'll jump over to our dual view again, which is the nice name I'm calling it, and we'll add some fixtures in. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go into setup, patch and fixture schedule, which is different from patch only. Patch only is just read-only access. Patch and fixture schedule allows you to add things. So the first thing that's going to prompt you is for a layer name. You can leave this blank and it'll just call itself layer, but I like to call it by what I'm using. So if I'm running across a couple of rooms, I'd call it by the rooms or truss numbers or the type of fixtures. But in this case, we're just going to use the simple dimmers, and then the 700s, because we'll be adding max 700s in a second. So we'll jump into dimmers, we right click on new, and before we've even added any fixtures, it now suggests dimmer. So I want to add 4 dimmers in, we'll patch them at 1, we'll set the channel ID to 1. We're pretty much letting the desk auto patch for us. And we're going to make one slight tweak. We're going to come across to where it says color, and we're going to manually input some colors, just so we can see what we're playing with. Green, and let's go with a nice cyanish blue. Cool. And then we'll go to the 700s, and you can type in here what you want. So in this case, I'm going to use a couple of Roby 700s, depending on who you are. Some people say Robe, some people say Roby. They're not the best example, actually, because I've got a bunch of different modes. The modes, if you haven't dealt with moving light fixtures before, the modes just represent different types of features. So there can be ones that take up only a very small amount of channels, like 18, right up to ones that have got a lot more finite control. We'll choose mode 5 because it takes up the most. Not that we're going to use anything. You can see down the bottom what the channels are used for. But we'll just go for the Color Spot 700 in 1 mode, which is their highest channel count. In Martin world, that would be extended. So Martin fixtures have got extended and basic. So we'll have 4 of them. We'll start them at fixture number 701, just because if you've got less than 10 types of that fixture, it's really easy. And we're going to get rid of that stupid name. We're just going to call it Robe 700 and leave a space and put the 1. And if we do that and leave a space, it's going to start counting through. So it's going to give us 4. And we're going to patch this to Universe 2, starting address 100. And press apply, and we can see that it's done that. Now when we close out of that, it's going to ask us, do we want to save? And we click yes, and it's going to push those files across to MA World. And we'll jump into MA World, and we'll position those fixtures. So the first thing we need to do is in the little tab on the side, we'll get rid of this Sessions tab now that we're no longer needing it. You can see that we're connected because we've added stuff, and also it says slave. So we'll grab our dimmers, all 4 at the same time, raise them up, rotate by using the move command and then the panning command, grab the blue, and you can do this using tools. I don't want them to be pars because they actually affect the output. Maybe that's a conspiracy theory, but I reckon they affect the output. So we'll make them 2 kilowatt bundles, which actually looks like a 650. And we'll select the second one, and we'll drag it out, just because you don't want them all on top of each other. And while we're doing this in MA3D, it's also syncing back across to the desk, so the desk knows where all these fixtures are. So once we've positioned them, if you hold down the control key, you can rotate them. So we'll rotate them up a bit like this, and then we'll grab our 700s, and sitting on the deck, let's leave 2 on the deck. We'll put 1 there, and we'll just grab our second one and put it here, and then we'll put our other 2 up in the air and back a bit, and then rotate them. Now down the bottom, in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see something that says rotate equals A. You want to get this to the degree you want. So for instance, I want 180 degrees, this is 181, close enough, it's actually 175. Unfortunately, you can only do it once, because then you're just modifying it by degrees. But what you can do is you can jump into 3D objects, and you can see rotation is 178, and you can manually put that in to be minus 180. and same there, minus 108. So it should be perfectly level on the deck. Now we'll put the camera in a nice position. I'm done with this, so I can get rid of it. And we'll jump back into our dual screen. So, once we've done that, we can start plotting in the fixtures and stuff. Now, the view that we're looking at here is the command view, which is useful for on-PC users who don't have a wing. And this little screen down the bottom is represented by the little screen on the MA2s. So the little multi-touch screen that's sort of just above your X keys, these ones, is this little screen if you're setting up your desk. Then it just goes 2 and 3 on the left and right, which you can't actually see, ironically, which is fine. I wonder why not. We'll try that. It's probably going to make me restart MA. So, you've got also a couple of window options. You can have it multi-screen if you want it. If you've got a computer with more than one screen. I've got a computer with 2 screens, but I obviously just want to keep it encompassed in one screen, which is fine. We'll see how we go. I can probably do it without having to use these external screens. It just leaves me with a really small palette, but you can use screen 2 and 3. It's just the limits of the software I'm using currently. Anyway, so the first thing we need to do is create our groups. Now you can create groups 2 ways. You can either manually key it in, so we know that we've got channel 1 through 4. And we click please, and then we click store. And it creates all the dimmers, so we're going to go dimmers. And then we'll run them up using the wheel. And we'll see that they turn on in 3D. There we go. Oh, they're pretty. And they're fixed to those colors. The other way we can do it is we can go setup, auto create, group, select the fixtures, then just go create all, and it's going to create one group for us. And then they are. Now it says it's got a really long name. It's telling me that they're of 700s and they are in mode 1, which I don't really care about. So we can edit that. So if you've just edited something or you've got it selected like that, you can just start typing and you can call them Robe 700s, or you can always click assign twice and you can see it in your command line here, label, and then click on anything you want, including even the widget, which is weird. That's not what I wanted to click on. You can even rename your group palette. I think you can rename your group palette. Groups. No, you can't rename your group palette. You can rename a bunch of other things, which I think is a bug, which I think is one of the ones they fixed in the update. Anyway, I've digressed. So the other thing you will have noticed when I selected those fixtures was they go different ways. Now you can either fix that physically on the fixtures. I'm also noticing that one of my fixtures is in the same spot as the other one, I think. Or I'm missing a fixture. I've probably just put those back to front. Anyway. Where is that window gone? There it is. Haha. You can fix this either on the fixture or you can do it in MA3D World by just inverting the tilt on 2 of the fixtures. Like so. And you can see that now they face the same way. In theory. Or I've just broken them permanently. Now you can see they go the same way, which is what we wanted. Which is, alright, so we'll jump into MA3D and I'll cut the amount of natural light down. We'll run through our dimmers quickly. And you can see that they come up selected in MA3D. Which is handy because you can actually grab a fixture and just manipulate it in MA on PC. But occasionally we don't want to do that. We want our entire fixture rig not to be seen like that. Ooh, there's my little window. So what we can do is we can go Tools and we can cancel sync selection. So if we cancel sync selection, no matter what we do here, it doesn't affect MA. So they won't come up all shaded, which is good. So we'll create a couple of little presets. So we want a position one, just for your positions. We'll have a Gobo one. And then instead of using a color one, we'll use the Calla Picker, which does not fit in that room. Calla Picker is something new in version 3. And it means you can just drag your finger over like so. Now you've always been able to have this rainbow palette. It's been something that's been in existence since MA1 days. But now it'll work with color wheel fixtures like a Mac 350, for example, or other color wheel fixtures, as long as MA understands them, and it'll try to match it as close as possible to the color, and you'll see little boxes of where it thinks the colors are with those fixtures. Another thing you can do is you can rename all your little position palettes for colors: red for position, blue for Gobo, just as another little visual aid for you. Now we're nearly at the end of this video, but we're going to create a couple of little sequences, and I'll show you how to import Gobos. So to import Gobos, you click on Setup, and then you go Auto Create again, and then you go Preset from Channel Set, and you select what you want. So in this case, because I'm using the Calla Picker, I don't need anything but Gobo. I select my 700s, and I go Add Preset. If you click Merge Preset, and you've got multiple fixture types selected, it'll try to merge things that are exactly the same, such as an open or a color wheel that matches, but it hardly happens. But it's always good to try to merge them, because it saves a little bit of work if it works, rather than duplicating open 12 times. So we'll run through a couple of Gobos. We'll see whether the Gobos actually work in these. I'm not 100% sure whether they work in here. It's going to be really dumb if I've selected a fixture that doesn't have Gobos at work. Like, really apocalyptically stupid. And by the looks of it, I have. I know, they do. They just did a weird spot. There we go. There are our Gobos. Lovely. So we've got Gobos. We can cycle through them. We can put a color over them. We can dive into focus and do the zoom of them. And I have a feeling off the top of my head, these have got an effect wheel. So we should be able to drop in a 3-facet prism, and we should then be able to not rotate that 3-facet prism. I thought you could. I swear you could rotate them. In some fixtures you can. Well, in some fixtures that are in the visualizer you can. But anyway, we can go through, we can do all that. Now, we want to create a position preset. So we'll select our 700s, we'll click highlight, which will put them in open white, and we'll put them in a colour we can see and press add at. And then when we click next, it'll give us our first fixture, and we can position that by itself. So if you have any Gobos in, it'll drop the Gobo and just give you the fixture in white, which is good for focusing. So I'll quickly churn through and do this. Wrong way. Wrong way. I know the default is 50. And we'll tilt it down a bit. What's the previous one set to instead of tilt? 91. So we'll set this one to -91. So I'm just keying this in just so we know. Oh, that didn't work at all. -91. Doesn't like that, does it? So we'll match it. And you can also put it in fine mode to get a bit more control, so we know it's 91. So there we go, that's 91. How that's... oh, there we go. Cool, then we click next, and it gives us our front two fixtures. And we'll take it out of fine mode. Position it there. Have the next one, do the same thing. and then we'll select all of them, and if we leave highlight on, we can see that they're all selected because they go white. And then we click store, put in a position, and we'll name the position figure, and then we'll clear, recall the position, and then go add, and they'll be in the right spot. Same thing goes for all the other position types, such as focus. Another one we can do is you can go, there's something called the all preset pool, which saves pretty much everything. And it's like saving a sequence, but it's really quick and easy to recall. So if we put them here, we put in that amount of zoom and a gobo, for instance. Let's go this one, and we'll put it in white so we can see it. And then store that to all. When we come to recall that, it will recall all the things together, which is nice for speed programming, or if you're constantly referring to the same sort of things. If you're programming a large show, or a corporate show, for example. Now, let's save, and I'll show you the reason why you use position presets. So the first thing we'll do is we'll grab our 700s, we'll roughly position them using the align command. As we can see, the little top corner. That didn't work at all. Oh, there we go. Hang on. I may have to do this manually simply because... Oh no, I don't have to. I can go fixture 703 plus 704, because I know those are my last two 700s. Tilt them up into their relative positions. So much nicer when you've got a real console. I wonder how many times I'm going to say that throughout this series. Anyway, position them so they're roughly even, and then go align, 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 and then push the pan, and they'll come in on each other. And then we'll store this, we'll make this there, we'll drop a bit of focus in. And tilt this up so they're actually hitting the person. And we're going to use the next command just to finesse that one light that's not really hitting him. And then we're going to store. And when we store, we go store, click on executor 1 through 15, which you can see, good. And we're going to store that. And now we see if we pull it out, put it back in, it's on the person. Now, on the little top section, we can rename it. So I clicked on just the top section that says sequence, and we'll rename it to yellow spot. If we click on the bottom, it comes up with the queue list. Since we've only got one queue so far, it's only got one queue, so we'll take that out. Then when we come back to command, we'll go 700s, add at, use the position preset, and zoom them in and put them in red, and then store to executor 1 and store it to executor 2. So we've got two different playbacks, and I can overwrite them if I really need to. We're set to lowest takes precedence, so whatever the lowest is, it's going to take precedence over the other one, or priority. And then we'll rename this red spot. Now, the reason you use position presets is because if something moves in the show and you've got a lot of playbacks or sequences that refer to it, if we update it in a position preset, for an example, when we zoomed in, we see that it actually clips his head. So if we quickly go highlight and we fix it up so it actually hits him, so we go next. Next again, line up, and line up. Whoop, too hard. It's not actually lining up his arm. Now it is. And we come out of highlight. The update button is now available, and if we click update and we update that preset, when we play back our nice little sequence, it'll now be in the right spot for him. compared to our yellow spot, which we would have to update, which isn't too hard anyway. So that's 101 in MA3D. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. This is lesson 1 of about 5 in a new series. We're going back to basics for now, just because we've got a little bit more stuff to cover now that we've got version 3 out. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this. My name is Alex.H. Feel free to email us or comment on the video. Thank you very much.